Purdue found a way to come back and win tonight at home against Indiana. And I know you're here to find a way to win in those DFS streets. So my guy, Mike, is going to join me in studio to break down a 10-game Saturday main slate right now, recording live from somewhere. This is One and Done.
Get out the insurance cards, get out the copays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by drroto.com.
It's time once again for everybody to come aboard that One and Done CBB train. Welcome to One and Done. Bienvenidos a todos a One and Done, your fast break of college basketball información. We are powered by the mega versus, multiverses, however many verses there are. That is the greatest website of all of them, and it's drroto.com. I'm your sometimes humble host. My name is Jay Heinrich. I'm the conductor of the aforementioned One and Done CBB train. Find me in those Twitter streets at Dr. William Cannon. I will smash that follow back button. But I know we're here to see my guy, El Capitan himself, the captain of the One and Done ship. He does the ship out of the train. That's how we roll around these parts. Find him on X at MC Holland34, the OG Money Mike, Mr. Mike Holland. Mike, what it do?
I can't believe that we're turning the calendar to February. It's February, man. So yeah, here we go. This is the big stretch run, right? The next 6 to 8 weeks are going to be pretty exciting. I'm excited to talk about. This is an interesting slate, man, that we're gonna hop into. So. Looking forward to diving into it. Looking at getting back on the winning streak here, man. The last 10 days have just kind of been a little bit of a roller coaster. A couple of ups, some downs there, but that's just how it goes when you roll in the DFS streets.
Yeah, it's gonna hit a pothole every now and then, but maybe a speed bump or two. But there's some freshly paved streets ahead, and we're trying to get out ahead of that here for this Saturday 10-game slate. We've got a $60 King of the Brackets up for grabs. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. Trying to get one of those spots, the coveted King of the Bracket tournament. Of course, we got the $15 5K to first also on the agenda. Not too shabby, Mike. Looking at a couple of nice big tourneys there, and an interesting slate to say nonetheless. So what are your comments? A quick overview here on this 10-gamer.
Yeah, for sure, man. This is weird, right? We got two, we use Kimpon metrics a ton. Obviously, only two totals, hitting exactly 150. The other 8 games are under. One team with a team total above 80, and that's a max priced Iowa State squad. And we got 5 teams that are kind of in that 77 to 78 implied range. So. Interesting enough, it feels like there's a lot of value in a lot of ways to look at this slate. Some of it is comfortable. Some of it is not comfortable. Some of it is going to be determined on injury news, and I'm sure we'll have even more pop up tomorrow morning. So stay tuned for that, because that's been kind of a theme over the last couple of weeks. Janai Broom's on the slate, which is always a guessing game as to how that's going to go and his price tag and how many fantasy points is he actually going to put up in the first 12 minutes of the game, because that's always nerve-wracking if you fade him. And then also look, it's, I think, 1,200 people in the large field one, which I'm going to be all over. I got to figure out how to get different and just be weird sometimes on these lineups. So we'll be talking through that. And yeah, man, I'm ready to dive in and get it going.
It's okay to get weird sometimes. You just get a little weird. It's okay. No matter what anybody tells you, it's okay to get a little weird sometimes. Don't worry about that. It's all right. We can do that. And you know what else gets weird sometimes? The live chat. And it's already on fire. Our guy Darren E. hopping in first thing. He's got his boarding ticket ready. Next stop, green screens. Yes, sir, Darren. Appreciate you. Appreciate those interactions on Twitter. You keep those coming. We always appreciate you there and here. Cam, what it do, baby? Big time fun slate coming tomorrow indeed. Good luck to you. Good, sir. You've been running nicely lately. Mike's Money Picks hopping in, who also hangs out over there in those Dr. Roto streets. Turning to February just means 4 weeks away from March. That's right, Mike. We are getting there quickly. Our guy Steve Boynton hopping in. What's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, what's up, Steve?
Mike had a nice collab with Steve and the guys over at RPS not too long ago. Check out what they're doing. They're doing good work. We appreciate them, and we appreciate you for hanging out with us as well. Steve hopping in there. Jay Kearney, let's get that money, baby. That's what I'm talking
Jay?
about, man. What up, man? Let's get it. Let's get this bread. And speaking of bread, our guy Eric, the Blue, dropping the bread emojis in the chat, and he's pushing the buttons tonight behind the scenes. Our guy, don't forget about our guy CC Hustle. Our guy Nate doing big things up and out behind the scenes, sending out those tweets, doing the stuff on the socials at The Real Napier. But most importantly, all the socials that we're talking about at One and Done CBB is where you can find us on Twitter, on TikTok, on Instagram, on Blue Sky. Hello, Blue Sky. That's right. We're there. Just go follow us. The content will come. Get out ahead of it now while you're there. Steve's saying it's going to go well for Broom. I hope you're right.
Always does.
Steve. Yeah, always does. Mike's money picks. Hopefully these injuries get announced more than 2 minutes.
I should play the slate tonight, man, because I needed a day off. And I heard about the Jaden Epps deal. It's probably pretty fun.
Understood. Yeah, bad times there. And Jason B hopping in. Good to see you again, Jason. How much Arizona is too much? We'll get to that later on in the slate. So thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. We appreciate that. And guys, we're very excited, super excited. Now I've got before we break down this 10-game slate, got a bit of exciting news to share. We here at One and Done are happy to partner with our friends at BracketBids to bring you a next level college hoops experience. Don't just fill out a bracket this March, y'all. Head over to BracketBids and enter into a free pick'em contest, or you can start an auction draft league with friends, family, coworkers, the people that you don't like, that you walk by on the sidewalk, on the street. You could invite them too. Doesn't matter. Get them all in. So the auction league, how that works, just like your traditional auction draft, you do fantasy leagues and you do an auction draft where you have to sort of outbid and outsmart your league mates. In this instance, you're spending your dollars on the teams you think are going to go the farthest in the tournament. You pick the teams, you bid on them in the auction to secure the teams you think will dance all the way through March. You can choose from multiple scoring models, including having upset bonuses that reward those bold picks that we like to make. You can track your teams live with in-game scoring, watch the standings shift in real time. What's better than that? You can see it right. We're all watching screens anyway. We got 40,000 screens when the tournament's on. So what's one more to have your bracket bids up there? The further your teams advance, the higher you climb in the league standings. So here's the most important part. Here we go. Promo code BREAD. When you go to BracketBids, either BracketBids.com or the BracketBids app, use the promo code BREAD, BREAD, as in we're getting this bread, for 40% off of your league activation fees. Download the BracketBids app today or visit BracketBids.com and upgrade your March. Right there across the screen. Thank you to the guys over at BracketBids. We are super excited to partner with them, and you're going to see some BracketBids logos around what we do. When you go over to their sites and check out what they're doing, you'll see our logos on their partners page as well. So happy to join up with BracketBids. Shake it up. We're all going to fill out a ton of brackets. We always do brackets.
Always.
Like speaking of getting
you
weird,
always pick Arizona to win it all.
Dude, you couldn't even let me. You beat me to it. You couldn't even let me. By a self-deprecating humor here of saying that, and I might pick Arizona again. Who knows? But either way, we're going to upgrade our March and get over to BracketBids. Thanks to the guys at BracketBids, everybody over there. And we hope you check them out too. Promo code BREAD for 40% off of your league activation fees. All right. A 10-gamer here on a Saturday, Mike. Juicy, big money stuff happening. Let's hop right into this first game. Florida traveling to Tennessee, 139-point implied total here. Mike alluded to the KenPom metrics earlier that we like to use on this show, and that's what these totals are. 139 implied total here. And Florida side, Mike, 68 implied points. We know Tennessee, they played more up-tempo last year. This year, we're 336th in tempo. So it's going to be hard for Florida to get up and down and just have enough possessions to really put up those sort of points that we might want. They're having a really nice season, but this is a tough road matchup. So we know they don't like to use a lot of their bench. It's not super deep, 282nd in bench minutes. But, Mike, the problem is they're super expensive in a scary matchup.
Yeah, and you're on the road at Tennessee. Your implied total 68. We got these guys priced up, man. Walter Clayton, 9,200. it's really tough to get to him in this spot here. Just going to be super contrarian tournaments, even for me. It just kind of feels a little negligent here. So, Clayton on the road last year against Tennessee, 16 points, 3 boards, no assists. Obviously, he's in a different role last year. He's obviously got the ball in his hands a lot more as far as a facilitator. But that was in 34 minutes. I don't love spending 9,200 for somebody on the road at Tennessee here. And Condon's up here at 8,500. I mean, 5 points, 4 boards. He had 3 blocks last year in 25 minutes, but I'm just not paying 8,500 for Alex Condon. I guess if there's like one guy that I would think about on this side, it'd probably be Elijah Martin, and we kind of been talking about him and just how good he's been this season. So at 8,400, I mean, Elijah Martin here, the rates all over the place, right? I mean, does a lot for this team. A big reason why they are where they are right now. But Jay, like Richard, 7,500. I know he had a nice game last time, but I just really can't get to these guys. Elijah Martin would be the one guy, like if you're just like wanting to get into this side for whatever reason. But yeah, man, it's not really for me on this side.
Yeah, it's understandable. Let's talk about the Tennessee side. Now, the clear pace up spot, we talked about Tennessee slows it down. Yeah, but Florida's 81st in tempo. So Tennessee will be able to take advantage of that at least a little bit. Florida's defense, 16th in – I mean, their defense is good. There's a reason why this is like 71-68 and not 80-78. You know what I mean? Like both of these teams play defense, but this is a pace up for Tennessee, although pretty much anybody is. And they're a little cheaper, and they're at home. Let's start with Ziegler here at the top, 8,700 to roster him. He's got the questionable tag from Rothstein, the news from his Twitter account earlier, but he's probably going to play, it sounds like. And we know that Zakai Ziegler is the straw that stirs the drink on both ends of the floor for the Vols. Against Tier A opponents this year, Ziegler has a 26% usage rate, 23% shot rate, 39% assist rate, and a 4% steal rate. That's going to get it done, and he's going to play massive minutes, Mike. It's the only issue is I wish, could I get him for 82? Could I get him for 83? I don't. The price is just a little annoying to me, but I think he's intriguing for tournaments.
Yeah, I think he's definitely intriguing for tournaments. So many options on the slate as far as spin ups, and obviously people want to get to. I want to get to Janai Broom, right? And that makes it really hard, to make that second pick Ziegler, because you got a bunch of other options if you're playing 3 or 4 value pieces. So yeah, I mean, I'm in on a little bit of Ziegler. I find Lanier and Milicic to be pretty interesting too in tournaments. I mean, Lanier's super shot dependent. His price has fallen. He kind of got up into that like 8K range, which is kind of crazy because he's super shot dependent. You definitely can't use this guy in cash, but interesting in large field like the KOB because he could score 25 plus real life points in this spot here. Milicic here, man, 6,800. He had the huge game against Kentucky, but honestly, we've kind of talked about like who hasn't had big games against Kentucky as far as fantasy points, and yeah, he's going to play 30 minutes. He contributes across the board. I'm a little wary of Florida's front line, like Newell, CMB, Kaluma, Mitchell, like they all just kind of had average games, so. I don't know. It's not that exciting of a click here, but I mean, obviously with these guys' price tags and having 5x upside here, I'll take a look at it. But it's just going to be like, man, they're in that weird price range for me on this slate. What's interesting, obviously, if Ziegler sits, Jordan Gainey becomes like super popular at 4,600. Like him and Jemai Meshack, even if Ziegler's playing, like they're kind of appealing as value options. Like we talked about Gainey, like. I mean, it's $300 more than Meshack here, but you're going to get shot volume, right? And like a 5x type ceiling if he gets hot from the floor, whereas Meshack is you're relying on some rebounds there, Jay. You're relying on 2 or 3 steals and just praying that he takes like more than 3, 4, 5 shots in the game. So yeah, I mean, Gainey and Meshack here, man, like pretty interesting. I think they obviously get really interesting if Ziegler were to, especially Gainey on that aspect here. So yeah, man, like kind of all these games really, like there's only a couple of games that are like, oh, like you look at the team totals, you're like, okay, so we're gonna have to make some tough decisions here in tournaments.
Yeah, most likely here. And again, like Ziegler has that questionable take. He's probably going to play, but something worth paying attention to on a slate where we're going to try to get to Broom and finding guys that will have some volume there at 46 and 4,300 would be nice. But, we'll see how that goes for Sure. Good stuff there on that first game. One game down, 9 to go. Let's hop back in the live chat and see what's going on. Steve saying, I'm talking about tonight, which is funny because, Mike, you actually mentioned this when we were chatting in the studio before the show.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
Like picking up 5 fouls in 8 minutes. Yeah.
What is he doing?
That's definitely an approach for sure. And then looks like someone I don't recognize. Jared, if you've hung out with us before, shout out to you for coming back. But thanks for hanging in there. Jared Bush hopping in. Purdue had to work for that win tonight. Yeah, they did. They definitely had to work hard for that one. Okay, calling the shot, planting the flag. Florida Gators winning tomorrow and saying that Final Four this year, Final Four bound are the Gators. So live. Jared, good to see you, man. Thanks for hopping in there. We hope you've hit that button already, the subscribe one. And we hope you turn on those notification bells too so you don't miss anything that we're doing. But thanks for hanging out with us, man. We definitely appreciate that. Mike's funny picks up in there. Florida's defense has big home road splits too. Not a scary matchup away from home. All right, Mike. Thanks. Mike knows this stuff. Mike's over there with us at drroto.com. So get over to drroto.com. Check out all the good work that everybody's doing over there, Doc and the guys. Moving on now to the second game on this slate that we're going to cover. Pittsburgh and Wake Forest. The old Fighting Tim Duncans hosting Pitt. Another uninspiring total at 137 and another uninspiring team total for Pitt at 69. It's nice, but it's uninspiring. Both of these teams sort of hovering around 200 in tempo, so nothing exciting. And unfortunately for Pitt, Wake is a top 25 team in defensive efficiency. So when you're talking about paying like 10,000 for low here or 8,600 for Leggett, it feels really tough to pay up for these guys against this defense on the road. Yeah, I mean, we know that these are the guys that lead the team in usage for Pitt. Usage, assists, like those are the guys. But it's hard to justify clicking them here. Can you cross them off for tourneys, Mike? I don't think you can just totally cross them off. But if you're going to spend up on this slate, I just think there's better spots. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's hard to have 10K interest in low in a 69 team total. Leggett too, man. Like these, probably. I don't have a lot of interest on this Pitt side, to be honest. Like Zach Austin and Cameron Corrin are in that mid tier at 63 and 6,100. I mean, it kind of feels like purgatory for everyone on this team. I don't think I'm touching these guys. The guy that I got the most interest here is Damian Dunn, 4,500. He's kind of been flipping back and forth, and here we go, playing the fifth guy with Pitt. Like that's always on a Saturday slate. What could go wrong here?
Could go wrong?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he literally played 35 minutes last game. Obviously, it's UNC, so pace up, right? Shot 2 of 9, but we could have easily had 20 plus fantasy points. That was in the range of outcomes if he just makes a couple of threes. But more of a secondary value play, just like in this game environment, man. Kind of tough over here on the Pitt side. What do you think about this Wake side here?
Well, I mean, from a defensive perspective, Pitt has been solid. I'll just say that they've been pretty solid here. But what we're looking at here, when you're digging a little bit deeper into the numbers here, there's some opportunities to boost some stats here for the Demon Deacons. You get a boost on rebounding because Pitt in conference play is just like awful, like 16th in offensive rebound percentage and opponents' offensive rebound percentage. They're not getting any boards, so you're gonna have a chance for putbacks here. Even in a total that's this low, if you got some of these bigs on this one that might be able to get around the basket, or even some of these guards that can slash in there. I mean, you could think about it, but get a bump in the 3-ball and assist rate for Wake as well. The problem is they haven't been good from 3.
They're not good from 3. It's like 28% from 3.
The things that should be boosted here, and we'd be licking our chops for most teams. Wake isn't any good at it. So. Do you think that they could surprise here? Hunter Salas at 7,900. The surprise to me is that we're talking about Hunter Salas at $7,900 at the beginning of February. That's the surprise to me here. The rates are phenomenal. We know that. Before the last game, he played in 38 minutes or more in the previous 4. So, I mean, I don't want to spend 8,600 for Leggett. I don't want to spend 10K for low, but I'm tempted in a tournament spend for 7,900 to get Salas in there. And I feel like in a cash game, the floor is basically like you could probably just lock him in.
Yeah, it's hard to. I mean, 7,900 Salas at home. I mean, playing 38 to 40 minutes. Like, yeah, that sounds appealing. I think honestly, like all the weight guys are kind of interesting tournament guys. I mean, Spiller's at 7,300. He's one of those bigs where feels like he could have a pretty nice game here. I mean, look, here's the thing, right? Like, and Steve's jumping in, man. Appreciate that, saying matchup driven with what's going on with Pitt. And yeah, so was it GDG versus Lampkin last game? And that's when Lampkin had like, what do you have, like 20 something boards or whatever. So what's going to happen when Spillers are honestly, like for tournaments, I'm looking at Efton Reed, which sounds completely disgusting. But these two bigs, like if GDG is going to start, then I mean, one of these guys got a big game because we were playing these guys at, Spillers in the 8K range sometimes for tournaments as a low on play. 7,300 now. Obviously, he needs to make the most of his limited chances. He's not going to shoot the ball more than 6-7 times, which is super annoying. So you need the cheap double-double. You need him to get his stocks to pay off 7,300. I just think he's kind of an interesting look in a tournament just because of the way that Pitt profiles here. And if GDG starting, like these guys can get in there and feast, especially Reed at 5,700. And the thing about Reed, like the minutes, man, like it's crazy, dude. Like now they're up 37, 38 minutes, and he has double-double upside, shot blocking ability. Maybe I'm looking at last year after Reed, right? But honestly, this whole team, man, like last year.
He's on the court right now, Mike.
I mean, he's on the floor. Yeah, like 37 minutes against this team.
Mike Money Picks jumping in the chat talking about he's playing full minutes, which means he'll probably foul out in 11. like I got renewed tonight. But yeah, I mean, that's another one where you look at a $7,900 Salas and a 57 Reed, and you talk about ways to get different, and you stack those guys, and I don't know. If they go
to 75 points, that'd be sweet.
That would be super nice. Anybody else on this side?
No, I mean, I guess we could mention they kind of have the same thing that goes on with Pitt. Like, who's going to be the fifth guy? We've got Hildreth. He's kind of been sick or whatever, and he's in like that 7,100. Not touching him, but Tyler Johnson there at 5,400. 7 straight games of 27 plus minutes. A couple of games he's diving into the 30s. I wish he was like $500 cheaper, but I mean, when Reed's $300 more and playing like max minutes, I just for tournaments I have more interest in Reed. So yeah, weird game script. I'm probably, depending on who starts on picks, I think GDG is like 3,800. So like whoever starts is kind of interesting for tournaments, God forbid. Mm-hmm. And then Reed, and then Salas is kind of an interesting play on the slate for both. I think Cashy's a great play, and then for tourneys, I think he's got 35 to 40 fantasy point upside at that price tag.
Agree 100% there. 315 plus 1,000, I should say. 1,315 subs is where we're at, and we've gone up since the start of the show. So thank you to whoever pushed that button. We appreciate you for doing that. Make sure if you haven't already, push those like and subscribe buttons. Help us out. Help your broskies in basketball out by pushing those buttons, and tell all the hoop heads in your life about us and about BracketBids. Make sure you check them out too. Promo code BREAD for 40% off. Make sure you type that in when you go check out our friends over there. Johnny K, hey man, what's happening? Johnny K in the chat.
Oh man, throwback, man.
Go Johnnies. Yeah, we're getting to that one right now. Johnny K, thanks for hopping in, man. Good to see you. Good to hear from you. Let's get to the aforementioned Friars and the Johnnies here. I mean, 140. So, like, that's a little bit better total, I guess, but when you look at, when we're starting off here with Providence, 63 implied points there. Not the best. And it sounded like Rody didn't like that either in the background. He didn't like that total very much, and I don't blame him, especially with St. John's being 55th in tempo. That's the only good thing that Providence has going for them, is that this is a pace up, because the Johnnies play defense, as in top 5 in defensive efficiency, and in Big East play, they've just been a brick wall basically. So how much interest can we even have in the Friars, Mike?
Yeah, I don't think Rody likes this game at all, man. And I'm surprised he hasn't done that during a coaching interview because, like, I don't know if he'll be in this household if that happened. But anyway, that's a whole different story. I mean, yeah, like the whole thing Bryce Hopkins on, like this team's just not very good. And we're doing the same thing we did last year. Although we have Bensley Joseph at 6,200, liked him at Miami last year. He's playing huge minutes, right? 24% usage, 21% assist rate. I mean, he's flashed 30, 36, 42 fantasy points within the last couple of weeks, but I'm kind of nervous because that's like Seton Hall, Villanova, Butler. So it's not like, it's not like he's playing St. John's here. Pretty good defensively, obviously, but kind of interesting. Pierre, 5,200. I mean, like last year, this dude's having to log just a ton of minutes, and he doesn't do anything. But he's on the floor, and like he kind of has to take some shots for this team. And if you're going to tell me somebody's on the floor in a pace-up spot for 37 to 40 minutes, he's going to take 9 to 10 shots and like fall over some rebounds and get a couple of assists. Like, I think you have to look at him in cash for sure. And then, I don't know what Providence is doing. Like, the season's kind of, it's over. I mean, Ryan Miller at 4,900. Like, why is he not playing 30 minutes? I don't understand. Like his minutes have really fallen dramatically over the last couple of weeks. So I mean, he's dropped $1,100 in price, right? And so it's just kind of one of those things, man, where you just can't. It's hard to trust anything on Providence, and when you're paying and to get into 63 team total, like just you better know what you're doing. That's all I got to say. I'm much more interested in the St. John side, obviously, with that 77 implied total.
Yeah, let's get to it right now. That nice team total for the Johnnies. And when we're picking through things, looks like steals boost here for St. John's as well. Providence nearly 20% turnover rate in Big East play. So that's not going to help you score points against this team either. But you do like that when we're looking at the Johnnies from that perspective. RJ Lewis here, 8,900. Kadari Richmond at 8,800. Smith's returning for this one, Mike, for the Johnnies, but we don't know how many minutes he's going to play. Like that's the problem, because when he's on the court, he's really hurt Richmond's fantasy upside this year on the whole. And we've seen RJ Lewis still be able to put up some big numbers even with Smith in. So for that reason, you've got the positional flexibility, and overall, I think more of a stable play in RJ Lewis here. I would prioritize Lewis over Richmond in all settings. I know you've probably, just like me, you've probably been burned by RJ Lewis. If you were someone have been burned by RJ Lewis in the past.
Sounds like yeah.
I mean, it's true. I get it. But the upsides there, Mike. We're trying to win a lot of cash. We're trying to win a king of the bracket seats and a 40-plus point fantasy point upside, I should say, every night for Lewis. He's got to have him in the player pool for tournaments.
Yeah, and it's like one of those things, right? Like if Davon Smith was not in again, Kadari Richmond, I mean, is appealing even though the price is starting to come up. But $100 difference between those two, yeah, I think RJ Lewis is definitely a better play. You got Zuby Ejiofor down here at 8K. Doesn't really affect at least the news, right? Smith doesn't really affect Ejiofor, so he's just kind of been average over the last like 5 games. But you also know that he has 5.5. I mean, if everything kind of goes right, he could smash these guys and win you a tournament. He's narrowly missed a double-double in 4 games, 9 boards, and then 1 game with 8 boards in the last 5. Like, what are we doing? So, that 40 piece is a couple of boards away and another stock, and then all of a sudden you're really cooking here. So I don't mind going here in tourneys, but then Smith, man, of course he's playing at 5,700. I would not expect coming off the shoulder injury that he's going to be out there at like 30 minutes. There's no way to project that. But damn, like at 5,700, like it's just, does he even need that many minutes? I mean, I think he kind of does. And they're not going to rush him into anything, right? Get him settled in 20 minutes or so. So, Smith just got back. Yeah, like physical contact. So, yeah, there you go. Johnny K's, got the scoop for us for the Johnnies. So, yeah, maybe something to file away for the next game when he starts to ramp up his minutes. But, man, just seeing that is kind of a sticker shock. But, yeah, kind of looking at Lewis and Ejiofor for this side and really for this game.
Eric hopped in the chat asking if Smith returning pulls down RJ's ownership a bit. What do you feel about that?
I think in the context of the slate, I mean, RJ's not. Janai Broom's going to be 40 to 50% every, so all the guys up there are automatically pulled down. So yeah, I don't, as far as an ownership standpoint, like I don't think Smith's going to mess with RJ, and all those guys are going to be in like the 8 to like 15. All those secondary 8, 9K plays are just not going to be super chalky, I would imagine.
Good stuff. Johnny K, we appreciate you hopping in there, letting us know about the Friars. Mike's Money Picks, Steve, Jared Bush hopping in there, Darren E, Jason B, Jay Kearney, Cam, everybody hopping in there. We appreciate it. Keep it rolling. Let's keep the live chat hopping. Push those like and subscribe buttons. Let's keep it on the way. We were at 1,315 on our way to 11 gazillion fulfillion. We're on our way, and you're a part of it. We appreciate you for doing that. 13-16 now. Let's go. Rocket, Mike. Strap it to us. Space shuttle, Elon. Oh, I'm sorry.
Let's not get into flight control.
I went to Mac Miller mode for a minute. Oh, I didn't even think about that from that perspective. But you went a little darker on me there, but that's okay. Hey, thanks for hanging out with us. Let's move on now, please, to Missouri and Mississippi State. Here's one of those totals, Mike, that you talked about earlier. There's only 2 that are at 150, and everything else is lower than that. So Mizzou and Mississippi State here, 72 points implied for the Tigers on this one. Both teams around 180 in tempo, so that is what that is there. Mississippi State's defensive metrics hadn't been that great, but they're a solid D. So what can Missouri get from them? What are we looking at to extract? On this Missouri side, you're going to get a little bit of a boost from the 3-point line, and it's time for the Michael Holland double thumbs down of the night, as Missouri is 7th in the country in bench minutes used. I always know that I can get a double thumbs down out of Mike for that sort of stat. So all right.
I had 3 hands.
A better team total here, 72, right? But the problem is even at some of these prices, like, can we just dive into this one, at least on the Missouri side?
No.
How about no?
Oh my goodness! You pull up the DraftKings app and you're like, oh man, look at these team totals. Oh sweet, here's another 150. Oh yeah, it's Missouri. But like, how bad could the pricing be? You see Caleb Grill hanging out at 7,200. Can I interest you in some max price? Caleb Grill on the road. 3 of the last 4 games, just flamethrowing 36 to 38 fantasy points. And then, kind of the Caleb Grill experience with 14 fantasy points on 1 of 6 shooting. He's been crazy hot from 3 in those 3 games, man. 14 threes. You got to be a little crazy to click him. It's not like he's going to play like, it's going to be 29 to 30 minutes typically for him, and he's got to hit threes. Now his steal rate's really high, and that's really aided him, right? Those stocks, boosting up 3 steals, 4 steals, 3 steals. That's really going to help him out. But man, you're paying for it. I mean, he was 4,100 2 weeks ago, and now he's 7,200. So. It's a scary click. I want to know what the chat's going to like. If anybody in the chat is just like going to be clicking his name. I don't know, man. I just been burned so many times by this guy, and you kind of know what's coming on the road. So I don't know, man. I don't have a lot of interest in Caleb Grill here, even though he's been flamethrowing. Mark Mitchell, Anthony Robinson, Tamar Bates, like 7K, 6,600, 6,200. I mean, to me, it's like, Mitchell and Robinson are the 2 best individual players on this team. Tourney worthy, right? Just because of the total here. But I'm finding that, interestingly enough, on this side, like Tony Perkins, God, at 4,300, kind of an interesting value piece. Like, he's flashed 4x plus games, right, over the last few months. Like, you just never know if he's going to play 12 minutes. He's going to play 28 minutes. Just kind of one of those deals when you're 7th in bench minutes, you have no idea who's going to get pulled by Dennis Gates here. So 4,300, like, I'm not saying a primary value piece, but a secondary value piece. And I think I got a lot more interest over here on this Mississippi State side than playing bingo with Missouri.
You telling me you don't want to rob the jewelry store and tell them, make me a grill? You didn't want to do that one? You didn't? Okay. All right. We got burned by the grill. Cam gave you love for that, even if it was if it was intentional.
It's never
or
intentional.
Not.
I'm not
if it
that
was intentional
witty.
or not.
No.
Well, you should give yourself a little bit of credit, okay? Like, you don't just have to. I don't have to be the only person telling bad jokes on this set, okay? You can contribute to that as well. What else is going on over here? Yeah, Mike's Money Picks. If you can figure out Missouri's rotations, and if you do, I feel like you'll write about it on drroto.com. But if you figure it out, you should let us know. I'm not going to – I don't think I can try to – I'm done. It's just going to be tough, and especially in this matchup burned by grill. Yeah, oh, my gosh. All right. I love it.
I think Jason B jumping in, man, talking about this Mississippi State side. We're about to dive in. our boy. Oh, God. All right, let's dive in, dude.
Jason, drink up, my friend. We're going to get to Kugel in a second. But first, let's start at the top here. 78 implied points. We do like that total a lot. I like this defensive matchup a lot better than the other side. I'll tell you that. I think Mississippi State should be favored in this one, and I get it. Here's the deal, though. Like, if Missouri can't turn you over, if you don't turn the ball, if you take care of the ball against Missouri, you can get your sets going, and they don't have any rim protection. So you can get to the bucket if you can get into – now, listen, don't turn the ball over, period. Obviously, that's the name of the game, right? But especially against Missouri, if they can't turn you over, they're in a world of hurt, and I like this team total, obviously, it's 78. Let's start with Hubbard here. There was a Hubbard comment up here a little bit ago. You'll take 28 field goal attempts from Hubbard, please, Darren. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, that was ridiculous.
Of course, the Newt game wasn't on the slate though.
The pace,
against Bama, but he hadn't really been before that. He hadn't really been much of a factor in the whole month, really. Like 74. There's a reason why he's at 7,400. You like the shot rate? Obviously, it's huge. Some assist upside. But again, very dependent on the three ball. Very dependent on the three ball. 7,400, that is up $800. But the game environment, Mike, I feel like, nice game environment, good team total here. But are we doing more than one or two of Hubbard and then like just moving on? Like, because obviously the upside's there, but we're not going crazy with him.
Nah, man, if you don't, I wouldn't expect 28 field goals. And it's kind of a tough click for me, man. And I'm always a guy that plays the Mississippi State forwards. And I like this spot for him. Cam Matthews at 7,200. I'm sure this guy's going to have I'm talking about all the guys that burned us last week, like Epps and Matthews and GDG, like just so disgusting, right? So, how many times can he hurt me on a Saturday? I don't think it's gonna be that many. Double upside, stock upside. I think he's a great tourney play at 7,200 for sure. So yeah, I'll be clicking some Cam Matthews and Keyshawn Murphy 7K. Yeah, I'm gonna have a lineup with at least one Keyshawn Murphy. You can believe that. And I just love playing him in tourneys. I think he has 5x upside every time he takes the court at 6. This 7K price tag. He can definitely put up 35 fantasy points in a hurry. So. And then, Jason B wants to bring up the Riley Kugel experience here. I don't really it's the same story. It's the same. I know with Florida it was a little bit different because it was like, okay, they're just not going to play him. But here it's like, is he going to play 7 minutes, 8, 9, 10? Is he going to play 30
or 27?
Is he going to play 32? Is he going to play 27? Is he going to play 15? Like super shot dependent guy. I know he's gotten some stock, 5 stocks last game really really helping him out, but only took three shots and only played 25 minutes. And you look at the game before that, he scores 15 points, but gives you 2 stocks in that one. At 4,600, obviously you'll take anything 18 plus, right? Absolutely. And that's kind of what he's done over the last 4 games, right? But this is the full Riley Kugel experience.
Let me ask you a question, Mike.
Nice team total. He's a great stacking partner too. He's a great stacking partner.
Do you want to wake up and look in the mirror and know that you missed the Riley Kugel game? Do you want to do that?
No, but I also don't want to find out later in the afternoon that I played way too much Riley Kugel on this slate, and he went, 3 for 12 and didn't do anything else.
Nine fantasy points,
something. Yeah, but honestly, like just with the price tag being so low, I mean, we gotta click him on some of these games. I'll be stacking them with Matthews and on the 1 or 2 Murphy lines that I have for sure. So yeah, you definitely gotta like this Mississippi State team total for sure in this matchup. So don't mind it at all.
We got a nice little one and done poll up. If you're hanging out with us on YouTube, make sure you check out that poll. And the question is, are you playing Caleb Grill? Okay. And your options are yep or in this economy. And right now, as you may imagine, in this economy is running away with this thing in a landslide. And I checked the voting machines ahead of time. There is no fraud. Like, it is what it is. Like, this is an actual true poll right now. So if you haven't voted in that poll, make sure you do that over on YouTube. And while you're on that page, if you haven't hit those buttons already, make sure you do like and subscribe. As our guy Scott Harris asks, who hops in the live chat to ask, do you like guards or forwards at your utility positions, or is it a slate-dependent thing? What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, Jay. I mean, it's absolutely slate-dependent, man. Like, we'll come on here and say, like, oh, you're playing 5 guards on this slate. It happens a lot more, honestly. It feels like, the first month, first 2 months of the season. There hasn't been too many slates where it's like, oh, we're just jamming forwards. I mean, there have been a few, but honestly, it's absolutely slate-dependent for sure. Appreciate that question, Scott.
Great question, Scott. Those are the kind of questions we love, and we love to share that with you. You know, our guy Mike is ready to answer the tough ones. And it makes sense, though, like a slate like this where there's 10 games, but only 2 totals are at 150, and you've got to find a way to be different. And maybe being different is 5 guards in most of your stuff. Maybe it's 5 foot, playing around with it and sort of tinkering. But with these prices and like it says in the poll, in this economy, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. So good question, Scott. And we always appreciate you hopping in with us in the live chat and on the channel. We appreciate it, man. Thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. That is, hit those buttons like I asked you to before. 13, 16, it looks like right now, 1,316. And you know what they say, 1 and done 316 says, I just whipped your – no, okay, all right. It's 1,316 subs. Good stuff. Keep it rolling there. Creighton on the road at Villanova here, a 147-point implied total. So not too shabby. It is below 150, but, we're not in the 130s at least. That's where we are at this point. At least it's not 137, Mike. Creighton, 142nd in tempo. Not too shabby, right? We could deal with that. And then you play a team like Villanova who's 346th. So they're going to slow things down a bit. But what you like from a Creighton perspective for the old Blue Jays is that Nova's been pretty bad on defense in Big East play. So 3-point boost for the Blue Jays here. Villanova's given up 36% from 3 in conference play. And we already know, like, you can't get to more than one of them. But all 3 of the big 3 for Creighton play all the minutes. I'm going to start with Kalkbrenner because I can, and I have the microphone, and you will listen to every word I have to say, Mike. But anyways, this is an easy one, though. He's been on a tear, and we get that. The problem is you're back above 5 figures again. And that's a tough price to click. If I'm going to go that high, I'm probably just going to click Broom and find a way to get him in there. I do have interest, but I have a feeling, Mike, even though I'm usually the guard-oriented one of the two of us, I feel like the interest on this Creighton side will probably be more in these guards.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kalkbrenner's an interesting pivot off of Broom for sure in tournaments. That 10-2 tag is it's a little tough, obviously back up there to max price. But you got Stephen Ashworth here, man. But I think in cash games, you just play him. All the minutes he can handle, right? Probably going to play the full game. Going to take a bunch of threes, which you like in this profile here. High assist upside. Ability to go for 40-plus also in tournaments. So I think Stephen Ashworth, look, he just logged 40 minutes against Xavier. Didn't shoot the ball well, but still put up 5 boards, 8 assists, grabbed a steal. So if he just, if he shoots a little bit better, he's into the 40s. So I think Ashford's interesting for tournaments. And then Jemiah Neal at 7,600. I mean, he's going to be out there the whole time as long as he's not in foul trouble, which kind of limited him a little bit last game watching that game. love the rates. I mean, it's just across the board. You're going to get double-digit shots. You're going to get rebounds. You're going to get assists. He's got stock upside. So, yeah, man, I'm fascinated by all three of these plays. I think Ashworth, though, pretty interesting here in this spot here. And then you don't have too many options over here on the Villanova side, Jay. What do you got for them? Oh, got
74 implied points here. Yeah, I mean, I guess from a matchup perspective, Creighton's been pretty solid defensively, but when you look at their schedule, it's been kind of soft. So it's what they should be doing against the competition that they've played. Let's find some positives here, okay? Stock party for Nova. Creighton, one of those weird things, just gives up a bunch of blocks, a bunch of steals. Like, one of those teams right now playing in a way that, you can turn over and you can, get some swats in. So slight pace up here for Nova. And I'm going to go, I always give the cash core 4 at the end of the show. So it's fitting that I talk about Eric Dixon at 9,800, Mr. Cash play himself. He does so much offensively scoring the ball, Mike, that he just doesn't do much else. They don't ask him to. I don't know if they want him to or not, but this is just what he does. You're going to get shots and you're going to get a pulse on the floor. And that, honestly, that's a great recipe for cash games, but I don't know if I can spend up this much in a tournament if I'm trying to win 5K to first here. That I just don't like the ceiling here and what I would need out of 9,800, but I'll play him in cash.
Yeah, and then, I mean, you look at someone like Poplar is 7,100. I think he's got to be in your tournament player pool, but obviously a cash option as well. He's been pretty consistent for them this year. Now he's working his way back into some good graces here after, throwing a punch a few games ago. But 5X upside if you feel like, 8 minutes up to 27. Now we're hopefully there you go, bobbing and weaving. Hopefully get back to that high 30s there. The way you love from him this year is a strong rebounding rates, man. He's just shooting it really well from 3. So a little bit interested in Luka Poplar. Tyler Perkins sitting here at 4,400. I mean, the minutes have been there for this guy, but the problem is that Poplar and Dixon they just take every shot. I'm not that interested in Longino, but for Perkins, like, his rates are just okay. But I don't mind his rates for this price tag. I feel like he's due for some positive shooting regression. He has not shot the ball well. 1 for 5 from 3, 0 for 5 from 3, 0 for 3, 0 for 4, 0 for 3. Maybe that's just who he is. But, you start seeing a couple of them go through at this price tag and you're on the floor a ton. I think he's kind of an interesting secondary value type piece, man. So not a lot of plays in this game, but some interesting ones, right? I really like Ashworth. And then, you got your boy Dixon there for cash. And then Luka's kind of interesting if you feel like he's going to get back his 38 minutes for a tournament.
It's almost like I want to wait on Perkins to have another dud and then get to they'll put him at 3,900.
Yeah, exactly.
Something like that, and just hop all over him. You want to hope for that Seton Hall game that he had, right? 27 fantasy points, went 6 for 7. That's the sort of things that you're looking for to win a tournament like this. This value that you can find, especially if you're trying to get to Broom or if you're getting to Dixon or if you're getting to Kalkbrenner or some of these guys 10K, around 10K or above. You got to find some guys in this value that are going to just explode and go 6X. It's tough to play the positive regression card, but the upside's there if you can get hot. Good stuff. Let's keep it rolling here on One and Done. Like and subscribe buttons. Do your part in the One and Done CBB universe. Tell all the hoop heads in your life, the broskies and broskets, tell them all about One and Done and everything that we're doing. Make sure you're checking out BracketBids as well. BracketBids app or BracketBids.com. Use the promo code BREAD for 40% off of your league activation fees. Let's get into Arizona and Arizona State here. Who asked it earlier? How much Arizona is too much? I think it was Jason. Jason B, how much Arizona is too much? Well, let's find out right now. Arizona 75 implied points here in this total. 64th in tempo. A solid defense that they're going up against here for the old Sun Devils, the old Nape C Hustle Sun Devils here. I'm surprised if he's watching. I'm sure he'll be in the chat putting thumbs down emojis or whatever for as we talk about the Wildcats here. But rebounding boost for the Wildcats, steal boost for the Wildcats. And as I like to do, here I go again on my own. Gonna put Caleb Love right in. 8,200. We know he's boomer bust. We know he is. He is who he is. Like Mike, you just said ago. Maybe that's just who he is. We know who Caleb Love is. We know who he is. He's going to go 2 for 17, and then he's going to hit a buzzer beater to send it to overtime, and his team's going to win. We know what he's going to do. Or we don't, because he might just absolutely go off and explode. And 8,200 is sort of in that range where it's expensive, but it's doable to get him where you want him to be. The problem is with the matchup here is Arizona State actually defends the three really well. But, Mike, you just can't cross Caleb Love off ever. You just can't totally cross him off in tournaments.
Yeah.
Big time tournament. He's got to be around. He's got to be around. I can't quit him. He's the Caleb Love is my all time. I wish I knew how to quit you. I just can't.
Yeah, man. I mean, always interesting because you can go for 40, 45 at 8,200. So, yeah, absolutely. I don't know how many times I'm going to click it. Probably click it once. Just because you got a bunch of interesting game stacking pieces over here on the other side. But, we'll talk about Bradley. I can't play him at 7,600. Toby Awaka, Darren's asking about him at 5,100. Yeah, he profiles well, which is getting kind of scary because he has fouling issues. But he also has like massive ceiling for for this price tag, and we've seen it the last couple of games. I mean, he's going to project well, which means his ownership is going to be through the roof, and it's just a little scary because you got Henry Vasar. I think is an excellent value pivot here. Jason jumping here, Toby or not Toby. Yeah, man.
Leave the bad jokes to me, okay? No, actually, keep coming. Love that. Then,
so yeah, I think the thing
too. So there we go.
Yeah, man. I fear that the popular Toby Awaka could get smashed by a foul game and Visar coming in. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have a lot of exposure to him. Obviously, it's just he's just been playing so well. If he's gonna play high 20s minutes with his rates, yeah, I'm in. KJ Lewis, another guy to look at 5,100, just another interesting option. Back-to-back games where he's been crushing. Shot volume is up a bit, which is absolutely encouraging. So yeah, I'll have some shares of KJ Lewis, and then yeah, you could look at Bryant. Vasar. I don't think Del Orso is really in play. But yeah, man, I mean, these Arizona guys are still cheap outside of Caleb Love and Jaden Bradley. So you're looking at the implied total of 75. Yeah, I think so, man. And then obviously we have two injuries to look for, which Arizona State is just kind of we don't know. It's going to come down to obviously news to see how we're going to play this Arizona State side.
Yeah, Jaden Creighton and BJ Freeman, both with the questionable tags. Let's get to that Arizona State side. Arizona's been top 5 in the Big 12 in defensive efficiency. That 71 points probably is reflective of that here. But what you do like is the pace-up spot that the Sun Devils are in. And what we also like, now it's time for the patented Mike Holland double thumbs up. Arizona State is 343rd in bench minutes. Much better than we were talking about earlier. So with Quaintance again, like questionable tag, 7,700. Big news here if he's healthy because the price tag is just so much cheaper than he's been. I mean, like so much cheaper than he's been. Averaging 31 fantasy points in 31 minutes. We like our fantasy point per minute cats, and especially at 7,700. Elite shot blocker with that double-double upside, Mike. And if he plays and gets 30-plus minutes, this is he's going to pop.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait and see, right? Because if he's in, he's very interesting at the price tag. If he's out, it makes a bunch of people interesting, right? Bashir, Jihad here at 6,600. A little interesting if Quaintance is out. Obviously, Phillips is going to garner a lot of ownership down there at 4,400. But, I think you have to look at him. Some of the best rates on the team. Going to play 30-plus minutes, going to take a bunch of shots, got to the free throw line 11 times last game. So he's not a stranger to posting 30-plus fantasy points. If Quaintance is in, I'll probably pass. Passing on Mason here too. BJ Freeman, that's the other questionable tag. Like Quaintance, like he's a lot cheaper than normal. He was in that 7K price range with that massive 28% shot rate and 20% assist rate. So there's some tourney interest, right, if he's in, but you just kind of worry about he was in street clothes after the last game dealing with a thigh injury or whatever. So it's a tough defensive Arizona backcourt that you have to deal with Bradley and KJ Lewis. So it makes it more interesting if he's out because then you have to look at Adam Miller. So if both guys are out, I think for Adam Miller, you need both of them to be out because He has to have the ball in his hands because he's really shot dependent when everybody's in. But if you put the ball in his hands, he has to create for other people, and that's where you see the 6 assists come in. So I don't have any interest in Adam Miller if both of those guys aren't out. Sean Phillips, though, at 4,400, he saw 28 minutes with Clayton's out, and the nickname Baby Shaq, right? Started his career at LSU. Really good rebounder, really good shot blocker, would become a very appealing target in both cash settings and tourneys if Quains is out. And then you have Josan Sanan at 4,200, arguably the most talented player outside of Quaintance. Played 30 minutes at Colorado, and Sanan here, he shot 1 for 7 from 3. But we know in mid-November he was going off. We talked about him last Saturday on the slate where he was super cheap. It's a little bit of a price bump here, but he was routinely 5 to 7x at this price tag. You're going to need Freeman out most likely. If Freeman's in, it's not as great, but I mean he can still get hot. And we got to check for the D's on this team, man. This is this spot right here is going to tell the tale of the slate, honestly.
Injury news that we got to pay attention to for sure. 4 games left to get to. Let's get right to them. Clemson and North Carolina State with a total that just makes you want to hold your nose. 133 implied points for this one. And Clemson's 64 points is just as uninspiring. Both teams worse than 325th in pace. This is a big wet fart of the game here. Rebounding boost for Clemson, three ball boost for Clemson. But real quick, I mean, on this side, you got Ian Shefflin at 8,100. I think from a large field tourney perspective, he's an interesting option. The last few games, he hasn't done much. So if you're game log watching, there's a reason why that price tag has gone down a little bit. But what you see there is basically on the year, it's 13 and 10. I can deal with that. This game is projected to be ugly. We see that, Mike. But from a tournament play type of a perspective, he could smash. Like Mike's money picks is saying Biggs against NC State no matter what. Shefflin, it kind of lines up. The tempo is the issue, right? You like the ceiling, the 40 fantasy point ceiling, anytime Shefflin's on the floor, but we do worry about the tempo in this one.
Yeah, the tempo's not great. I'm not playing Chase Hunter with whatever he's got going on for right now. Jaden Zachary just kind of hangs out. Victor Locken's always interesting in tournaments. I wish he was at the 6K price tag instead of 6,500. He's always a frustrating roster because it's 13 fantasy points or 35 fantasy points. So I'd imagine NC State, they typically like to start Styles at the 4. Well, you can't do that against Clemson. I don't think you can do that against Clemson. Otherwise, either Locken or Shefflin's going to go nuts. So I would imagine that they're going to play 2 bigs to start the game. If they don't, then Locken or Shefflin's going to have a huge first 8 minutes, and we're probably nuke, which makes them interesting for tournaments for sure. So a little bit of interest from Clemson. These ugly games sometimes have some interesting plays, and there's some more over here on the NC State side as we got Amir Ali over here from Jason B asking. He was 3,400 in the Arizona State game. We didn't really talk about him. Yeah, he had 17 fantasy points in the last game. Took 8 shots. Yeah, I mean he's another guy. I like Sanan a little bit more. So, but if you want to play him too, he's absolutely in the value player pool if both of those guys are out. But yeah, this NC State side, Jay, is definitely interesting as well.
Yeah, 64 implied points here. Marcus Hill at 6,500. Now that we finally come back down to earth after that UNC nuke, this is a lot more tolerable here with this price tag. Leads the team in shot rate and carries a 16% assist rate as well. The problem, just like we mentioned earlier, it's the game environment, and Jaden Taylor is $1,700 cheaper, Mike. So
right.
For me, even at this price, I think I'm probably saying thanks, but no thanks to Marcus Hill.
Yeah, I mean Jaden Taylor 4,800 is gonna get clicked a lot. I mean, it's the misprice. She should be in the the high 5K range. Has 25 plus fantasy point upside. 22% usage. Has a little bit of stock upside. Playing 33 to 35 minutes. So I'll be using him as a value piece for sure. It should be popular on the slate, depending on what happens to Arizona State. Obviously, all that news going on. Ben Middlebrooks, I find interesting for tournaments at 4,700. Him and Brandon Huntley Hatfield, I think they got to start Hatley Hunfield over Styles in this one to match up with Clemson's bigs. And one of these guys probably going to get me in trouble in tournaments. But they both have 25 plus fantasy upside, especially Middlebrooks. We've seen him do it. We've seen BHH do it. I mean, these are really only two guys they have with size. Like Clemson has like 4 guys that they play that are 6'8" or taller. I know Wiggins is more of a stretch 4 and doesn't really get in the paint, but I mean, Reeves comes off the bench for Shefflin, and Lockett, and he's 7'1". So I mean, yeah, they're gonna have to play Middlebrooks and Huntley Hatfield here. Huntley Hatfield's sitting at 4K. Like, I don't know why they won't play him, high 20s minutes or whatever. Finally got into the 20s with like 22, 23 against Duke. So probably going to start next to him. So if you project him for 25 minutes, like he's going to pop. So kind of a tournament play only for sure, as he's kind of reached back and gotten to his, some of the high teens there. All he needs is a few more minutes to really get into the low 20s.
No doubt. Let's move on now. 3 more games left on this 10-game Saturday main slate. Make sure you hit all those like and subscribe buttons if you haven't already. Hop in the live chat after you hit the sub button and let us know that you're hanging out with us here on the One and Done CBB universe. Auburn and Old Miss up next. Here's the other game on the slate, one of the 2 that are 150-point implied totals. So obviously a little bit of interest in this one. For the Auburn Tigers, both of these teams will get up and down a little bit, so no worries there. The issue is, and this is what I was hoping would happen in Austin, Texas, but that didn't work out. Chris Beard is absolutely, and Ole Miss, he has his team locked in defensively. Like, it is what it is. It's Chris Beard basketball, and they're executing his style of play at the highest level right now. They're 10th in the country in defense and first in SEC play in defensive efficiency. On the other side, though, since we're talking about Auburn first, they're number 1 in offensive efficiency in the country. So this will be a fun one, strong on strong. Auburn uses a lot of bench minutes, but that doesn't matter to Janai Broome.
Here he is.
The king of the castle. King in the castle. King in the castle. $10,600. Just absolutely fried Tennessee, limping around, just doing whatever he wanted to anyway. And then, here you go, LSU. 55 fantasy points right there on your head. Look, at this point, we're talking Zach Edey levels, right? Like, and that it is what it is. It's why the price tag is 10.6K. And basically, like, figuring out, from a main slate perspective, right? He's the key if he's on it. So, if you're mass multi-entering here, either take a stand, pick it, or just go 50-50. Like, I don't think you can just either don't. Oh, I'm gonna go 25%.
Yeah.
No. Like, either just flip a coin and start every other lineup with him and not, or go all in or fade him. Like, don't just half-ass it one way or the other with Broome, because one way or the other is not going to make it work. So, I mean, who else is going to get you 60 on this slate, Mike? Anybody?
I mean, yeah,
Anybody?
It's pretty tough to get there.
Not on this slate.
Not with otherworldly performance, man, from somebody. Yeah, I mean, we just know how good this guy is, and honestly, man, the Auburn side is very interesting. Like Chad Baker was, Darren Sand, Broome's matchup proof, absolutely. And who's going to guard him? Malik Dia? Like, come on. Chad Baker Mazar, guard forward eligible, 7,300. He's up 400 bones. I don't know, man. Like, dude, like, I think they don't play him, but 31.5 fantasy points when Broome went off for 55, and he shot 3 for 12 from the field. And he does produce across the board, and he does have a 35 type fantasy ceiling. Now $400 more takes a little bit of that upside out. Just 10 gamer. I don't know, man. And I'm just much more interested in all these other guards. Like, yes, Pettiford now down to 5K. It's great that he's in the bargain bin area now. The guard minutes are annoying, and that's where it gets annoying with this, with the 78th in the country in bench minutes, because you have so many really good guards. Nobody's going to get more than 25 minutes in this backcourt, except for a Denver Jones. Miles Kelly will get up there too, but man, all these guys are kind of lottery tickets at this 5,200 to 4,900 price tags that they're at, and one of them could get hot and go with Broome. And if you have the right stack, absolutely. You have Denver Jones at 4,900. If he hits his threes, man. He's playing 26 to 32 minutes. He hasn't shot the ball well either. 3 for 9, 0 for 8, 3 for 8, 3 for 8. So, if he hits 5 or 6 shots, he's going to be a nice play there at the 4,900 price tag. So Mike's Money Picks jumping in here, man, saying Broome right now feels like EDT. Yeah, Edie 2 years ago where he's expensive but still has 6x upside. Yeah. That was fun when I wasn't playing a lot of Zach Edey because I'm like, he can't keep getting away with this. And
can't keep getting away with this.
I mean, yeah, like I don't know what his price. Like if there wasn't a lot of value on the slate, it makes it more interesting to fade Broom. But it's like I don't know. You have a lot of options to fit him, and probably another stud in. It just depends on who you pick on that second stud. You better get the value right.
Well, he'll go for 60 against Ole Miss, and then he'll be above 11K. So we'll have to deal with that at that time. But let's talk about Ole Miss. Auburn plays pretty good defense. Like, not pretty good. They're really good. There's not a lot of weaknesses on that Auburn side. There's just not. So what can Ole Miss do here? It starts with Sean Padula here, who's the absolute, the tip of the spear for Chris Beard and what those are they still the running Rebels? Is that we're still going with that, huh? And especially now. Anyways, they played really well recently, and okay, Padula's cash guy. Not touching the fraternities, Mike. Cash game though, I'm in.
Yeah, I mean, cash game you're in, and then all these other guys are tournament plays. Jermaine Brakefield, 5,900. What's he going to do? Is he going to go for 33 fantasy points? Is he going to go for 10? Is he going to play 20 minutes? Is he going to play 35? I don't know what Beard's going to do here. I just know that he's kind of interesting for large field tournaments. Morrell, big price drop down to 5,600. Like his minutes have been sporadic. He has to shoot well from the field, so very shot dependent. I don't know that I'll be getting to Matthew Morrell at the spot. He also drawn the questionable tag, but I don't know. It's just kind of weird to see like all these, at home. It's a big spot for these guys. They can put up 75, 78 points. I mean, outside of Padula, they're all pretty cheap, man. So yeah, we're probable for Morrell. So not questionable. Obviously the DK deal here. Dre Davis, 5,400. He just went off on Texas, 32 fantasy points in 32 minutes. Just don't know about the minutes. Like it's 21 or 32 or 25 or 33. You do like, obviously the way that he played last game, but it feels kind of like a chase, but he's in the player pool. Jalen Murray's 5K. He re-entered the starting lineup 3 games ago. And, a non-factor, of course, against Texas in 29 minutes, 6 fantasy points. But still, if you're playing 30-plus minutes, right, you have an $1,100 price increase with 4 to 5X upside, an interesting secondary type value for sure. So, yeah, this game is very interesting. These last 2 games that we covered, Arizona State, and Ole Miss and Auburn, man, super interesting as we kind of round out, some games that we're probably not going to have a lot of plays in.
Mike's money pick saying Broom feels like Edey 2 years ago where he's super expensive but still can go for 6X. Yeah, definitely. And then Jim Carey, the pick detective, hopping in there saying to take that NC State money line against Clemson. Okay, good stuff there. Good to see you in the chat. Keep it rolling. Let's move on to Wisconsin and Northwestern. Some smart people on that campus over there. Northwestern, 143 implied points in this one. Let's start with Wisconsin. Going to probably be able to get to the foul line a bunch because Northwestern fouls a ton. They also give up a bunch of dimes, so guard play here might be a little bit more inviting if the price is right. That Northwestern defense has fallen off a little bit lately too, and they don't play very fast as Northwestern. So Wisconsin, a little bit to overcome here, starting with John Blackwell, who our guy Roy in the chat is saying on Wisconsin, no matter what with Blackwell. I don't know, man. He's come back to earth the last couple of games. On the road at this price, it's tough for me to pull the trigger, Mike.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll pay $7,800. Maybe if they're like $500 cheaper.
Tanji's right there.
Yeah, he's right there too. And this is a guy that you look at the profile, right? Like Northwestern's fouling a ton. Who's slashing to the basket, drawing fouls? It's Tanji at 7,800, top 30 in fouls drawn per 40. He leads the team in usage. He's been really good lately, just super consistent, 32 to 35. I just don't know in tournaments that's going to get you there. I don't know, man. I really don't like anything on this Wisconsin side. Like Crawl's there, but
no Crowell either.
Yeah, you've had to play 32 minutes because of the double bigs, right? Queen and Reese over there at Maryland, but we said that was going to happen. I didn't even play him in that because I was like, I don't even trust it. So he's just notable because he's got 4X type upside, but not for a tournament for me, which is typically what I play. So I think he's going to drop back down to like the low, the high 20s, mid 20s type minutes. So yeah, not a lot to like on this side.
Which is fine though, because then he'll go down to like 5,400, and then I'll like the matchup better, and I'll love to pull the trigger on a crawl in that instance. How about the Northwestern side? They're going to get some clean looks because the Badgers don't turn you over and they don't protect the rim. Another instance of that here. Are you as surprised as I am that KenPom has Wisconsin favored on the road?
Yeah, that double take, right? It's like, I don't know, man. That's a weird spot. So Brooks Barnheiser, 9,300. I mean, we know he's going to be on the floor for Northwestern. It's been a long time since we've seen this guy at this price tag because all he does is play 40 minutes, take 1,000 shots, grab a bunch of boards, hand out a bunch of dimes, and a 6% combined stock rate. So awesome spend up cash return. I'll play some Brooks Barnheiser for sure. And then, if you want to really have some fun here, Ty Berry and Matthew Nicholson. And if you've ridden the Ty Berry experience, it's been pretty crazy over the last month. These guys are frustrating. Both can disappear. They can put up 5x. I mean, Berry shoots a bunch of threes or he'll disappear. Nicholson does kind of all the dirty work, right? Gets you a bunch of boards and blocks, but it's like flip a coin with these guys. And I don't know on this slate. They're in play, but it doesn't feel great. So, yeah, it's just this game and the next game, obviously, big spread. It's just, I don't know that we're getting to these games.
Yeah, Kansas State and Iowa State here. Iowa State, my favorite team to watch in the country right now. And, I got to say, I was a little taken aback that Otzelberger wasn't on the poll as one of the Coach of the Year nominees. But that's neither here nor there of our one and done poll that we put out today. So get over to @OneAndDoneCBB on Twitter and check out that poll. Also, vote in that poll that we have. Is that still up on the YouTube page from the production team? Are we playing Grill? Is that poll still up over there? If you're playing yep or not in this economy, let us know. It's still up. Yeah, producer told me it's still up. So get over to YouTube, push all the buttons, take our poll. Let us know if you're playing. If you're going to rob the jewelry store and tell them, make me a grill. Anyways, all right. One more game on this one so we can get out of here. And this is not a lot of interest here. Kansas State, I'll start there. 64 implied points. Just spread it's on the road. Almost 20-point dogs. Ugly implied total here. Look at these names. Guys that in some instances we have been excited to plug into the lineup and click their name. Coleman Hawkins. Not at 9,500 in this matchup. No, thank you. I'm guessing as well. 6,400. I'm guessing I'm not playing him. Dougie McDaniel here. 5,900, excuse me. And then Brendan Housen at 4,500. I don't know, man. This might even be a full fade on this. Housen at 4,500. Yeah, I mean, like maybe. But what are your thoughts?
If the best you got on Kansas State side is maybe, then
is maybe on Brendan.
Nah,
Housen.
man. Yeah, maybe. It's just one of those spots where like Kansas State scores 63 points. Like none of these guys are. Barring like a house and like somebody just getting hot, but it would have to be McDaniel or House at the price tag, and this isn't going to happen, man. Like Iowa State's going to run away with this thing, but unfortunately, Jay, we got some big price tags on the Iowa State side.
Yeah, that's to be expected here. Biggest implied total on the slate for a team at 82, but everybody's max price. Like no, when I say everybody, I mean everybody is still at max price. The Cyclones do get a bump in rebounding in the 3-ball against Kansas State, and we do like 259th in bench minutes used. We can tolerate that for sure. Josh Jefferson, Mike, under 10K, but like, and we know what he's capable of. But what do you think about this Iowa State side? And start with Jefferson.
Yeah, I've been telling the fade for like the last couple of weeks, and finally, like, pace up against a really good tempo against Arizona. He puts up 25.5 in 39 minutes. So, I mean, obviously, this Kansas State front court doesn't scare anybody. I think the double-double's back on the table. Price is down 600. I don't mind like a hammer spinned up here, but is this game even going to be close? This could be open and shut case. For tournaments, like the one guy I would look at would be Curtis Jones, and Darren Etheridge is definitely sticker shock here. 9,400. I love him. One of the best rebounding guards in the country. Just takes a ton of shots, a bunch of threes. It's 20 fantasy points. He didn't shoot the ball well at Arizona, but he's going to hit 8 to 10 field goals. Like, he just takes so many shots. I mean, I'm not playing Gilbert at 9,100. Lipsy, like, he's just like the fourth option now at 5,800, which is crazy. He's just not doing anything. So, yeah, man. These last 2 games, man, just kind of there.
Hey,
outside of maybe like some Barnheiser.
just keep doing the Lipsy rain dance with me, man. Eventually, it's gonna rain. Eventually, it's gonna rain. I'm telling you, eventually, and if that price keeps going down, it probably won't though. They're probably smarter than that. We're never gonna get Lipsy at like 4,800 or anything like that. Like, he's just too. Yeah, I love him, but it's tough for sure. Spit King 420. Love that username, and we love you dropping in saying that you love the content. Thank you so much for hopping in with us today. Late on we're filming this on Friday night for this Saturday slate. If you're watching live, first of all, thanks for staying up late with us. Little one and done after dark action. We appreciate you for doing that. If you're watching later, make sure you hop in the comments section and let us know that you stuck through this whole thing, hour and 15 plus, hanging out with your broskies over here in basketball. And we're getting to the core 4 now. So Spit King 420, as interesting as it was to repeat that username, we definitely appreciate you for hanging out with us in the live chat. We appreciate everybody. Let's get to the core 4. You've waited long enough. The core plays of the night here, right here on One and Done. I'm going to start with the cash core, as I always do here. And Eric Dixon, Mr. Cash himself, not Mr. Steal Your Girl. This is Mr. Cash. Eric Dixon at 9,800. Or if you want a little bit to spend down for your top option in a cash game, I think Barnheiser is a good way to go to at 9,300 there. And then you've got, so either take Dixon or Barnheiser, and then take Hunter Salas or Stephen Ashworth. Okay. And again, these core 4s, these are lots of options now that you can use to build around. So, Dixon or Barnheiser, Salas or Ashworth, and then the not one, but 2 Jadens, if you will, Jaden Pierre and Jaden Taylor there, 5,200 for Pierre and 4,800 for Taylor. Slot them in. And with the most expensive options, you still got 5,575 to spend on each player for the rest of your lineups. If you go with Barnheiser and Ashworth, you can, it's about $400 total, so another 100. Anyways, you could save a little bit of money. But Dixon, Salas, Pierre, and Taylor, that initial cash core 4. Mike, get us out of here with that tournament core 4 and more.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna mix it up a little bit too. Obviously, Janai Broom, always in the tournament play. But I think if you're not going all the way up to him, or if you're playing another one with him, I think Curtis Jones. We just talked about him with Iowa State. I think RJ Lewis is pretty interesting at 8,900 to spend up options. I think you're looking at someone like Cam Matthews or Jaden Quaintance, depending on his news, at 7,200 and 7,700. So kind of right in that mid-7 tier. I think Efton Reed is really interesting in tournaments, which sounds terrifying, but that's tournament plays. 5,700 there. Toby Awaka at 5,100. Or really, what's going to happen? ASU value, NC State. The NC State bigs that they both start there. Together they're kind of interesting. Both Perkins are interesting. The cheap Auburn guards, man. So. Kind of one of those deals, right? If you happen to run it with Broom, Matthews, Reed, Awaka, it's going to leave you at 5,350. You're probably going to go 2 value pieces and then add either an expensive guy and like a 5K guy, or 2 expensive guys and 2 really cheap dudes. So we'll see. A lot of it's dependent on this is more like we do first looks right the night before, and then the next morning someone's ruled out or whatever. It could change how we feel. Somebody gets popular. But yeah, man, these are kind of just pillars to build around for sure.
Toby or not Toby, it sounds like Toby is the way to go in Mike's core 4 for tournament plays. Look who's hopping in at the very end, Ryan Osterman. Ryan, good to see you in there, man. Thanks for hanging out with us so late here on a one and done CBB show. We like to bring you the action on the night before usually. Mike does his live before lock shows as well. And the only way that you are going to know when Mike's going live before lock is if you hit that notification bell and that subscribe button. So do all of that for us. Thanks for hanging out with us, Darren. We appreciate you, as well as Cam, Mike's Money Picks, our guy Steve Boynton from the RPS crew coming in there. Eric, the Blue, pushing buttons tonight. We appreciate him hopping in the live chat. Scott Harris asking great questions earlier. Jason B., Johnny K making an appearance to talk about St. John's hoops for a little bit there. Jared Bush, Jay Kearney, Spit King 420. Good to see you in there. And then, of course, Ryan hopping in late as well. Excellent stuff there. We appreciate all of you for hanging out with us. Mike, thanks so much for joining me. Head it over to BracketBids like Darren. Do it like Darren is. Get over to BracketBids.com or download the BracketBids app. If you start that league, use the promo code BREAD for 40% off of your league activation fees right there. Scrolling across the bottom of your screen. Bread, because we're going to get this bread. That's what we do here on One and Done CBB. We get this bread and we get those green screens. So make sure you follow us at One and Done CBB. All right. We almost made it through Peanut Butter Posse. We almost made it through, our resident Kentucky fan here.
He's ready for the Calipari game, it seems.
He's ready. I get it. Why not? Always good to see Peanut Butter Posse, one of the OGs in the chat, for sure. So good to see everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us. Make sure you push all those buttons. Hop in the comment section if you're watching later. The live chat was fire tonight. We thank you all. We love you all. We appreciate you all. 1,317. Strap the rocket ship, Mike. Strap the rocket ship to us, baby. Don't forget to push all those buttons. That's Mike, and I am the JAYHEINRICH. Come again. Peace out, y'all.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. And until the next visit, be well and take care.